bring.
Oh yeah, we vibing out. This is your vibe today, man.
All right.
It's your vibe today, so whatever we flowing with, we're just gonna flow with it.
Say that there. Got you a feather. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I had to make that connection here.
It's
Find a feather.
should from my feather.
Yeah, so I know it's like these are the other levels to experience and then the experience. Dang, I can't even go into what I got. I came unprepared with the tools. Let me see if I have. Okay. That's old school.
We're gonna start in a few minutes, people. Y'all just gonna see the process while we getting started.
That's in the making.
You dig?
Like behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, it's the scene.
Yeah, all the scenes.
Scenery. There's levels.
It's a nice one. Oh my goodness. It's like an amethyst tooth right here.
Brother,
Straight to the root.
Jay, he was
Y'all see
like,
that?
hold this for me. I was like, shoot, I've been holding on to this joint for like, it's about to become mine. I've been holding it that long. I don't know what to tell you, bro. It's like, I'm glad you let me hold on to it.
Come on, man.
Significant behind it all, you know. I didn't bring my incense at one occasion.
No, it's cool because I don't even think they allow us to.
No,
have
I
like
wasn't
that
gonna do it
going
for
on.
that. I was just giving it to you on a
On the
gift
tip,
package,
oh my
like-
man.
Yeah. So you're seeing labradorite in the hand, and we're also seeing the connection with Amazonite in that hand over there on this side
Right here.
of the screen. And on this side, you're seeing aquamarine.
Aquamarine.
So we're going through the significance behind those. We can get more into that, intimate with that conversation.
Yes,
The
sir.
big piece that he showed you already was the amethyst, and that one's a powerful stone there and crystal there. We call it gems. Some people change it up and call it stones, and that's why some of us, you know, on a spiritual level, be like, man, don't be calling it that. Yet, it's you know, it's whatever you look at it as to help you, you know, get yourself in a higher power self. You got a higher power inside.
Right.
And once you notice that, this is
majority
the
too.
significance behind everything. So I'm just shut my mouth and let me start wherever you want to start at, brother.
All right, so we're gonna use that wall for the promo video.
Okay, all right, word. Gotcha. Right. Okay. We want I do have some little instruments I brought with me so you can hear the sound of Eternal.
Yes, sir.
What we say for ERN. Eternal.
I can't wait to start, man. We got some good questions and conversations to talk about.
So as your physical, you have a heart. And for your heart, you want to protect your temple. And your temple is like your own temple. To your own heart. Spiritualize out, not separated. Together, not apart. Side, respect. Side.
Forgot the aunt. Now don't forget the aunt.
Oh, plus the call with the
All right.
There we go. We on the pop and give thanks. Respect to all y'all.
Respect.
Much love into the nature. Giving thanks to the elders, you know, the ancestors, the living and the non-living. Because I know if we weren't there, that's how we gonna get started. Where we started at.
Right.
That's it.
So, welcome everyone. This is the Third Eye 5 Just a Vibe audio podcast. I appreciate y'all, man. This is, man, I feel the energy already. He done gave me so much energy. He didn't even
Rod's
do nothing.
calling me.
Rod's calling. Pick up. I dare you to pick up. I dare you to pick up. Pick up. Go ahead. Pick up.
Yeah, bro. That, now, how you gonna call at this moment? You just knew when to call?
Why?
Go ahead, say something, brother.
Peace, bro. What's good, man?
Who's that, Kenny?
It's Ray, man. Stop playing. RK5 forever.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah.
I was just gonna call Ray too. Oh my God.
For real. We doing a podcast, man. We shooting an episode for Eeternal right now. We getting lit, man.
Where at?
We on Main Street.
Yo, I'm at the 7. I just got to the 757.
Bro, for real. Bro, stop playing. Where you at now?
I'm almost by, I think Rosemont.
Bro, if you can come to downtown Norfolk on Main Street, you can make this episode, man. I'll bring you up. Mind you, we at a building. We at my building right now when we shooting the podcast. So let us know, man.
Oh my God, right now?
Yeah, you can come right now.
Oh my God, man. And what y'all talking about? The Eternal Roots?
Man, we talking about everything. We
got
diving
started.
deep.
Yeah.
Shoot, you on the podcast right now. We got it. We're going straight raw audio, all that. This my boy Ross. Great guy, man. Great guy. Great spiritual guy,
Drummer
man.
off the chain.
Drummer.
That's the fire.
Oh my God.
That's the fire to the water.
It's gonna be in the 757.
Look,
It's
It's
lit,
all
man.
right
I'm
on
telling you,
there.
it's lit when you touch down, man. It's lit. This is a whole different vibe.
I swear I was gonna call you. That's crazy, bro. All right. Just shoot me over
The address.
shoot me
Yeah.
over the address, bro.
I'm gonna send you the address off my phone right now.
All right, I'll be there in a bit.
All right, I got you.
Hey. Y'all
Yo.
got any drums?
We got one drum.
Yeah.
Alright, bro.
We kind of sour on the drum part.
It's all good, man. We got 3 hearts, so that.
Yeah.
I say.
Huh?
Alright. I say.
That shit. I see you soon, bro. Peace. Love, man. Love. So that's Ross right there.
Yeah, that's Ross. So hopefully we can get him on the show. But right now we got my great friend, brother, you dig, spiritual brother.
Yeah, man. That's how
He's
we do
doing it big. Store owner.
I ain't no star owner.
Working his way on it, man.
Look at you.
We Eternal, man. This is my guy, Eternal,
I'm gonna
man.
put you in the store already. No, I ain't in the store. All right.
Oh,
See, that's that word right there. You know what?
it's all good.
I should have kept the other part. See, I should have known that.
Tell us a
Worked
little
so
bit.
far. Yeah, my bad. My bad, people. We had to break some glass, y'all. That's how the work start. When you break some glass, you know you're going to come off in a great start.
Real talk.
You be like, break some glass.
We had to sacrifice the glass today, man.
Yeah, no, we ain't gonna sacrifice it. We honor that. Give thanks to the glass.
All thanks.
Giving all energy for what it came out of and in of.
I show you.
We had to have some water libation. We did it without even having to say it. It's just been done. That's how you know the ancestors be with you at all times. You be like, is there an off time? No, there ain't no off time.
Right.
It's a time we ain't know.
Right. So let's go into tell us a little about yourself, man.
All right, so
Who is Eternal?
whew, that's how we get started. Let's go here first. As you see, foundation starts from the head. So as you see from the head, create your head, create your hair, create your mane. As you see, my hair has been that cut frame. So we see how Samson and Delilah, whenever you cut your hair like I did, such, it's a sacrifice, as we were calling it earlier, but then not realize it could be an honor. And that's what the honor is about, learning why the feather, why the measurements, why have that. I gave my brother over here feather connection, gift sources. We have to have like resources to give one another as a crystal too for the brother. Focusing energy, master stone, things of that nature. This hat came to me from being in the village life, and so a brother, a Scorpio, brought it to me.
Oh man, I'm a Scorpio too.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
He says that's what I'm talking about.
Well, I run with the waters. It might be triangles, like you see, that's in his foundation that keeps him in this connection. These are multiple triangles on the wall, so pyramids, as we think about how sacred geometry helps us in our alignment. And so, with me not knowing that though, this is why I had to become eternal. Eternal was a nomenclature of self and self-independent. Once we, just like I was just reading in this book right here, if you ain't got it yet, please look it up, find out how you can get to it. Zechariah Sitchin, which is the Lost Realm. Now, as you can see, I done beat this book up. This is the cover of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll find out that when you look for it, just flip it around, put it in the mirror, or whatever. You'll figure it out. This is a great book, The Lost Realms. A lot of people don't know the real and how the real keeps being playing in our face. But they talk about the 12th planet in here. And in that, they actually explain, just like your body, we're all bridged out. And just like for myself, I had to learn that. I'm actual being from Germany. So being that I was not saying I'm originate thinking I'm German, you know what I'm saying? I had to actually learn my mother. And so most people don't go with it that way. They
Right.
Dominate their self in how they come from that area location. And that's the upsetting part when you realize that could be some kind of glory you glorified in yourself. And you did it for quite some time. You're probably still doing it right now. And that's what helped me align the Buddha side to myself. I didn't know all of those things till you start getting into what you call not just the worship, not just the sacrifice, because most people use that, and not just offerings that you give one another. You end up finding out that you have to work more into honoring. And once you honor, like we say, honor your mother, honor thy father, so your days will grow longer. That became a part of my livelihood. And I said, okay, there must be something I'm not doing right, because I was doing it in the left aspect. When we think of left, like who I am, it was me finding out my left hand and my right hand, who to say, now I know who I actually am. I didn't know that. And so as the Buddha that was put as a statue on the same continent that I came off from, was there already, sitting there in origination. And it helped me look at it like, okay, well, there's something different about this. I got to look at what's mature about, this thing not even working for me. Oh, wait, is it working for me now? Nope. Can you hear me now?
What kind of charge it take?
It's a C charger. Sorry, y'all, I dropped that on y'all. Apologize. I don't say sorry.
I said you go ahead.
Good, thanks. We look at the immaturity of our lives and livelihood. So you'll find out from a child, our child instincts were being grown or outgrown when you see your measurements. And that's what became who I am now, from Eric to Eeternal. And I can say that, just everybody has the quote unquote good and they quote unquote bad self. And from childhood, the childhood development, was it worldly? Was it non-worldly? Did I develop my things on my own? Or, or am I just, taking what my mom and my dad created for me and now I look through that? And so these are what we call scoping through life. A lot of us don't know that scope, like the horoscope, is horoscopic. And so as horror, a lot of people are stuck in horror and not know that it's drama or trauma. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I knew from just touching that Buddha and the statue not being a flat form. Because most of our conversations, as when we get around each other, we don't have flat conversations. And this is where a platform really builds.
Right. To
where you say, okay, that's the relationship. And because that was the study of me learning Eric, how did I become eternal? You know what I mean? And so that's how I said, okay, this is who I am now, versus, okay, that's who I was, and that's who I'm gonna stay as. You know what I mean? Because some people label you as who you are because of what they know you by, and it's not really how they know you by, it's how you're continuing to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once you know that, there's your persistence. I don't know if I went long with it on the answer, but
let's go a little back to what you were saying as far as like honor thy mother and father.
Okay.
What was your aspect on looking on that? Because I feel like as of today, in our generation, in this world we're living in now, we are falling away from that and honoring our mother and father.
Yeah, no,
how important is that?
No, it's really getting to that point where the edge is being met at this point. And because we don't see an edge, we usually run into it head on. And that's where the collisions usually start. That's where when we call it reckless, some of us gave us that word, reckless, but the word is less of wreck. So it's not actually reckless. We're actually not even in a wreck. But because we're saying, you being reckless, it'll make it some kind of derogatory or, demanding conversation that this is why you'll see the conversation we have from mother to father. I had it hard, I'm gonna give it to you hard. It is that part that's been the isolation or separation between what we want to even have, as we call it, integration. I want to love and hug my mother. I want to love and hug my father. Yet there's some past aggressions that we look at, and all of these, not just myself, this is a worldly thing. That's what I was saying earlier. How are we really looking at it from a worldly point of view? Because it goes into riddles. If I can individually riddle myself out of myself, now I can see it from a family point of view. Then I can speak it from that what we call a social point of view. And most people don't have that. Most people just live into your life, and then there's this social life. But that's not the social life. That's the social life that's being appeared to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to still get into the social conversations, not the shut up and we ain't talking about it because I'm irritated by how you spoke on it. That's not solving the issue.
Right.
That's delaying this that don't even have to be an issue. Yeah. Some of us are emotionally attached by the conversation versus learning the positions that we're in to get the conversation across.
That's deep.
I had a conversation with my niece, and she's drumming, right? And she's awesome. Oh my gosh. And it took a minute for her to grasp all the things that was being said to her. And I know that because I was giving her the life lessons, you know what I'm saying? And it's not that we're teaching each other. That's why we have issues. A lot of us say, I taught you. You didn't teach me anything. If anything, we gave each other a life lesson. You know what I mean? So when we see that in the experience, we're at a better way of saying, okay, the delivery is better and I can receive it better. You know what I mean? Reciprocity. So just like going back to the mother and the father, how do we see reciprocity? If you gave it to them and they didn't receive it, then you might have to do it on the outside realm versus the inside realm that we always look at.
Right.
Maybe have to hug a tree. Maybe have to ground your feet. You know what I'm saying? Do some earthening.
Right.
That's what we call earthening. And hug the tree a little longer than 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, don't be embarrassed now.
Yeah, because some people gotta look at who looking. No, you don't even look at who's looking. Just
vibe out.
Just get that energy for yourself, because you find out that nature has always been around you. But I noticed the sister, she was like, I can't, get my daughter to stop being irritated by, insects. And then I was like, well, are you irritated by insects? And she's like, yeah, I'm irritated by it. And then I was like, well, are you projecting the
insects?
You gotta realize what's the projection given first to say why she got it.
Right.
It started somewhere. And once we do that, there's this life lesson. And it won't be that I had to teach you this. It's already in you. You just emulated something different. You didn't realize it. So going back to my niece, she's drumming and she's fire, right? And she's going brrr. She does what? Now that was ironic. Who called, right?
Yeah.
So she does this brrr. I was like, dang. I know where she got it from, but I'm not saying anything. And as what we learn from those who are getting into their wisehood level, we're not going to be cocky. I'm not saying me, because it's still, again, that sound like I'm cocky right there. We're not going to be cocky. We're going to actually ask them, you know what I'm saying, like, how'd you get that? Or, ask the questions. So
right,
just like how they would have, you know what I mean, when they were little, right? And you was doing something and they wanted to know something, you're like, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? What'd you do? So I was like, how'd you do that? And so she was like, I did it like this. And then she was like, you should know that. You taught me. And then my sister interacted. She's like, oh, wait, see, now, I got to stop you right here.
Right.
Because it's like playing games. Whenever you're playing the games and let's say it's your first time winning, or maybe you did win a couple times, but here you beating an older person. You beating an older, bam, bam. You got him in the game, and like, pow, I knocked you out. Yeah, you suck. You know, you're like, wait a minute, what you doing?
Right.
Character. Do you still have yourself outside of the game and inside the game when you play like that. So it's about balance. And when we're older and younger, we'll have to still have that experience. And so I put myself out there so she can notice these things. And because we're not in a social world, but this is a social moment.
Right.
To where if she's talking to an older person, will she still do that and shame them once they finally feel like they won at something in their world? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I learned this, but I learned that from you. And it was like, actually, I ain't tell her yet, but she gets to now know it when she pop up here or whatever. Technically, she didn't get that from me. She got that from Ross. And so Ross was showing her how to move fast on the drum. And me, I'm a water sign and an earth sign. So as water and earth, we balance. You know what I mean? On a different level.
What's Aries?
Aries will be fire. So we got fire and air.
Fire.
Well, no, fire and air. Fire and air is how you create your fire to go further or loosen up the fire. Just like water, we have to have earth to slow us down when water might be too much, and you got nothing to hit against.
So that's your
That's your holistic.
That's your moon. What's your moon?
Oh, my moon is actually Capricorn / Aquarius.
Okay.
So I'm on a 2.5 day cusp, which is pretty dope.
But mine's Scorpio and Aries.
Okay, so and then he has water, so that helps him balance that. Even though that water's a triangle, it represents fire in there. So that means it could be, you know, a little edgy with that water. You know what I mean? Because what's the point, or how you point out things? You know what I'm saying? So that's the unbreakable spirit. That's basically what family is you see this triangle like that. That was another thing for myself to learn the square, the triangle, and the circle, how we communicate some kind of way, right?
Right.
And it's a worldly communication. And because we say, oh, I ain't into that, you just get yourself isolation.
Right. Put yourself
Water's
in the box.
still coming in, and you're in there, but you got a full cup, and the water's still coming in the tub, and you don't get none of that part. Even though you're in there in the tub.
Right.
It's just like the apple, what I just saw, where the worm is going in the apple. Just because the worm went in the apple don't mean the worm belongs in the apple.
Right.
So our relating and how we relate to one another, it can't be just, oh, I'm cocky, and that's how we talk. That's not how it works. And then the ironic thing is she's a Taurus. So for my niece I was talking to was a Taurus, she hit me with the points. I just, bam, I'm gonna get you quick off the rip. Like, yeah, give me a chance.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hurt. But as a Buddha spirit, we don't have to feel hurt by the hits, because that's the rubber concept.
Yeah. Before I go on the next question, after I do this question, we're gonna go back to Taurus. We're gonna talk about the Taurus constellation real quick. We're gonna dive deep in that. So how did you start your spiritual journey? Like how did you come about being who you are today? Like,
man, I'm gonna have to go back to when I bumped my head.
For real?
Yeah. I bumped my head at 16. And when I bumped my head at 16, I had to wake up to a different world. And it was 5 minutes. Out of that 5 minutes, like that hand you got behind me, out of the 5 minutes, you call it the yod, right? The yod, the yuda, the Buddha, comments and commas, as just like comas, we go into. And so I went in 5 minutes, took me 5 years back, like a Back to the Future aspect.
Right.
And I got up, and I don't know how I knew, the address to go to when I got up. That was like the other part, just had me like, whoa, that happened too. Because I still have the flashbacks like it was yesterday. Like I can still do it. Like all I gotta do is go into some proper meditation. I'll be like as if I just left there. You know what I mean? And so these are stages that a lot of us, and you probably have went through it. You just didn't notice it. Accidents. And usually your accidents, you see your most phenomenal epiphanies that happen. And so you'll keep them, but it's like not a door that's locked up. It's always there to open, you know what I mean? And once I found that was one of those elevators that we all have, it opened other things. Once I started to forgot about it. You think you forgot about it, like, man, that ain't really happened. But it'd be like, no, it really happened. You can think about it tomorrow, the next day, the next day. So it's like the night and day thing. I know most people go through night and day, but you realize night and day is just, it's continuum. You get most of the day here, you get most of the night here, and you're like, wait a minute, something not right. And then if you stay up, you're like, let me stay up some more. And it's 2 days. Then you're like, I'm gonna have to lay down. Because you can't, you're gonna shut down. So I had to find out, just like when that coma happened, how did things keep relapsing in me to where, you know, being touched at an early age and things like that, to where I said, oh, this stuff I gotta get off of me, you know. And that's where shadow work started happening. But it didn't happen at 16. The spark was to be having a high blood pressure. That's what changed my eating habit. And once I hit this coma concept, it was amnesia. So I wasn't here, but I was here. You know what I mean? So you could be in and out of the dimension halfway there. And so a lot of people might not know how that experience is. It takes a minute to learn to cope from that. You know what I mean? And even if your family is right there with you, they didn't experience what you experienced. So it makes it kind of like you might be weird to them until you know, they can figure you out. Yeah. So it's a lot of that went down with me, and that's what I can say about the Buddha side.
So I don't mean to cut you off. So you can say your parents, are they spiritual like how you are?
They're spiritual to their abilities.
So they understand you.
Yeah, well, not all the way, because, you know, I could start doing some texting, and once I start texting, whether I be on Facebook, whatever, people be like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, speak English. You like, wait a minute, that is not a word or a sound or a syllable. English is not a place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're giving me something, and you telling me to break down something? Look.
Right.
Like, etymology, you got M in your hand. Some of us got these M's in our hands.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
So when you say etymology, you are connected by your atum. So you say mata, energy. So you say to yourself. These are your sounds. So it wasn't words, speak letters. It was speak sound. So when we're speaking to each other like that, that's where the life lesson has to now start to come in. And yeah, I might be here to give my mother and my father life lessons, just like you are for your mother and your father. And we're not here to destroy them because, he calling back. Did you send it to him?
Yeah, I sent it to him.
Okay. Yes, I am. You here? Well, you here already? Bro. What's going on? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm at 500. What building is it?
All right, just stay there. I'm gonna come get you, man.
All right, peace.
All right, peace. Continue. Dive deep on the M.
Okay.
Talk about the M.
Yeah, we were talking about the M. The M is in the hand. So if you look at how your expressions, mama, you say the word a lot, and because that word mama, you don't even have to say it to like express it on a strong vernacular concept. You can say it, you know, you mummer is memorize. That's why the word M or the mom sound, mummy, mummified. All those connect back to your M's. These are the way M's are. Hold on for a second. The M's are mental. So when we say M, just like this in itself. The owl is the same connection as we would think to be something of its highest point. And at its point, its ears, as we look at it, has a point also to where it goes. And that's to the center of his eyes. But between his eyes, you know, it has this point, 2 points. So it's a representation of how sound is the EM, M, and ME. So we say me or M in the meta netta, the learning and how we learn the glyphs is not only that it could be an owl, it could be a symbol of what the M represents. And so wise, mother represents the wise one. Grandma, grandma had all the antidotes or remedies that we knew through rituals that became tradition. That's why we look at tradition so much as the triad, the Trinity. So when we're saying that, I know grandfather was around, yet this is where you see that when it comes down to the relationships and how we saw each other, grandfather was more the outside father. He was doing the stuff that fixed the car, fixed the windows, fixed the fixer-upper person. So he wasn't like as the inside because he was the protector for the outside. So just think of this as the same thing as your skin. Your skin of Cancer to your father of the bones inside Capricorn. So that is why we have this, matrimony here inside of the canal. Respect, greetings. This is Buddha Eeternal coming in with you and letting you know about my copper. We have copper that helps with our body, and the more you get in tune with this, it's going to help you in tune your body. So we're talking about crystals, eating sugar, salt, ice. They're all crystals. So we have silica on the body. When you scratch your body, it's crystals. So when you think about it, wearing copper is going to be a conduit. So if you start getting with me, Eeternal, as I say, from the Custom Copper, which is EKK, Eternal Custom Copper, you can check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and also TikTok. I'm also on Instagram showing you some new ways of being on EETURNAL lifestyles on how we learn from the Buddha. I give thanks and respect. Peace.
This is, oh my God, welcome to being.
Oh, you said his spot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me get right there.
Siéntate, señor.
That's okay. You always like to sit down spots.
What? What was that?
Sagittarius.
What's good, man?
Fire sign. Leak.
Yes. It's lit.
The seat of
It's
Youssef.
extra lit. It's extra lit. We got the gang in here, man. Like
Respect. I ain't seen him in a minute too.
my spiritual
That was
brothers,
the last
man.
last time I seen him, we were
Was it at the
together.
show? That's crazy.
At the show.
The alignment, man, is crazy.
It's crazy, bro.
So yeah. So this is my guy Ross. You introduce yourself a little bit, man.
Yo, peace. I'm known as Ross Hotep in the 757. But I legally just got my name back, my birth name, which is Youssef.
Oh, man, it's back.
Man.
Oh yeah, Youssef. This Youssef right here.
Yeah, but I mean, I go by all the great names. They're all great names.
Yeah, they
honestly,
are.
man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so great to be here. It's like
Yes.
every time something's going down in the 757 with Eeternal or Ray. No, you good? It's all good. That had to happen. That had to happen.
Bro, that's the second slip.
Good.
And so every time something is going down in the 757, it's like I smell it.
Yeah.
Or I feel it.
Off real.
I feel it off
You
real.
get that
like,
phone call.
like something is going on. I gotta check in.
Yeah.
I gotta check in,
And you
so-
check in on the perfect time.
Perfect
And it's
timing,
crazy, man.
Perfect timing.
And it's crazy.
Even Eternal used to be like he about to drone. And I'm like, man, I can feel it. I gotta call Eternal, see
Yeah.
where he at. And he's like,
Yeah.
yo, it's crazy. I'm about to drum right now.
Yeah.
So, but no, I live in the A now. I'm in Atlanta, hot Atlanta, really nice place. But I do oil-based fragrances.
Oh yeah.
You know
What
what
your
I'm saying? With the brand Ubble Misk.
Yes.
Ubble Misk Parfums. You can find us on Instagram. We also do, whenever we're in a new city, we do deliveries and whatever. So I'm in the 757 at the moment. My number is 470-534-3809. Hit me up if you
For
want to
sure.
smell good.
For
You know what
sure.
I'm saying? If you need some pheromones too in your junk, I'll hook y'all up.
Great smells, yo. I still got mine. You feel me? Still got mine. It smell good and everything, yo. So y'all vibe out with it. I'm gonna do a little video promo after we done with this.
My God, no worries.
So we put in the video.
Yeah.
So all right. So we're gonna dive back deep, man. So let's talk about chi. Chi energy.
Yeah, chi.
Your take on chi, man.
That was a major thing for myself, just like what I was talking about matrimony, getting back into the pineal gland and pituitary, how you tap into that, you know what I mean? Marriage. So when I had gotten to a marriage, it had me merge the 6 and the 7. 6 and the 7 represents 13. So when we look at 13, 13 represents going back into your, what we just now spoke of, eternal self. So reflection. What did I do was learn from my child, and the child that came into existence and the child that didn't make it. And then to now have a child that made it, but now 20 years from now. So when we're talking about breathe, this major thing, you know what I mean? Like, you think you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? And you give your significant keys to the baby that made it, you know what I mean? And then the baby that don't make it, you're like, oh, shoot, like, what do I do? And so that kind of gives you into what we call shadow working. We'll talk about that later. But as I start to learn this, that had that same significance towards that.
Okay.
I run into, you know, as my child gets older, I'm still giving him this key that we call chi. And as in we're doing the chi, for instance, I'm going to show you my breathing technique that I gave him. It helped him align his quiet zone. Most people don't know how to get quiet within themselves. So
Right.
it takes a minute to breathe through that. You know what I mean? Like, certain things will really irritate the crap out of you. And you're like, dang, I didn't realize I was irritated. And it was great that I was teaching him that, because he was teaching me that also. So that's why I was saying about teaching.
Give us a little bit, like how, because I know there's a lot of people that can't do that, like quiet themselves in that moment. Like, give us a little bit on like how could those people that's listening now can really like quiet themselves and really
So
tap
like,
in.
you see, he's at a quiet moment right now.
Yeah.
While he's breathing, right?
Yeah.
And while he's
Exactly.
breathing,
His element.
he's
Yeah,
going
his
through,
element.
and that's where we get therapeutic ability, right? In the
You're
same way
quiet,
while he was,
that's it.
okay, yeah, you gotta just quiet yourself. And you'll find routes within that.
Yeah.
It's just like instant messengers where you have, now, how do you get to the quicker trigger points that triggered you? Because you do get instant messages. Like those are two examples. When the glass came off first, I didn't catch it. And then here's this bottle, I didn't catch that either.
Just went all over my pads, yo.
It's like,
But I love Eeternal too.
Right,
much,
right. So he didn't
why
move.
get upset?
Right,
Man?
so-
I got like a whole wardrobe that I just cleaned last week. I love you, Eternal. It's like, yo, welcome to 757.
Welcome to
Just spilled this
757.
great smoothie on your pads right now.
Yeah.
Love you too, bro.
Yeah, so the trigger points that it could have went off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't. So it's like the delayed in the breathing, that just like how he was talking, right? I could have been jumping all over his conversation. However, I waited till he got finished.
Yeah.
And that's what we also have to work with. And this also works with what we just already explained. Social, besides you being beside yourself. Because you could be by yourself, but then you don't have no older person, right? So now you feel like, I can do whatever I want. There ain't no older person around me. I can do it. I can do whatever. Somebody come in and be like, oh, I gotta shut up. I gotta stop doing it. I gotta do it. I gotta wait till this person get out the room so I can start doing me again. So it's like, are you an older person to yourself? And you have to learn how to be an older person to yourself while you're having the conversation. So as what he was saying, I would go into this breathing, right? Just going at random, and I'm gonna just show you how I'm gonna breathe. Go ahead. No, you talk to me.
Oh yeah, it was
I
good.
show you my
I
breathing.
just
He went to his. That's how it worked, though. I know what to do.
It's the norm.
It's regular. I can deal with that. All right, go ahead.
Oh, but peace, Eternal.
Peace, brother. And so while he was doing that, I just felt my stomach. You know what I mean? Because he was giving me actually optimistic waves. Now you can imagine when it's negative.
Right.
My stomach was already moving, right? And I'm breathing because I saw him already get ready. It gives you a chance to answer and respond without having the delay that you usually get caught in the delay of. And by the time you delayed out of the breath, so is the energy. And so now you feel depleted about answering. And then you get angry because you don't want to answer again. What the person said, what? I didn't hear you. What'd you say? You're like, wait a minute now, did I speak loud enough? Or now you mad or irritated because you don't want to repeat yourself. And that all goes into, you know, how we actually have patience for one another. Do we really have patience and the process behind that? Because patience isn't, you know, a virtue for everyone. A lot of us are eating the things that cause us not to be patient, or living the lifestyle that causes us not to be patient. So when it comes down to the chi, the breath, like right now, I'm gonna show you one of my techniques is going really strong with my nose so I can build up my stomach. And the more I build my stomach up, it's just like, you ever seen Dragon Ball Z? When Goku has the spirit ball, he put his hands up in the air, right?
Right.
He's doing a conga, or they call it the kananga, which represents how you put it here, actually. It wouldn't be up here, but here. And as you're breathing in, you can breathe in. You can do the same thing, or you could just sit here in the calmer, still, you know, because here, the upper part is now elevated. You can breathe up here a lot more easier when you do it this way. All right. So now, if you're already good and used to that, then you can just have your hands relaxed on your.
That is crazy that you brought that up, because I just found out that like praying with your hands up in the air is better
you
than
get power
laying
from
going like this and stuff like this. When you have your hand in the air, you actually connecting to the spirit.
You're an antenna now.
Yeah,
you're doing an antenna connection. Just like when we think this here is the antenna, right? Because this has the highest point on my head. So once it comes down to the Trinity, that's what was more important than just a circle. You know what I'm saying? You want a circle, but you want the center of the circle to actually give you something, or is transparent for everyone that comes in. So that's why there was healing circles as a circle, not healing squares or healing triangles. But it was the circle that created the triangle and the square. So that's how, even for now, as he's carving, it's the curvature that keeps us calm versus just seeing the straight line. Because if it was straight line, you'd be fixated on the line, but then you could also pass out while you're on that straight line. So you need curvature to keep your mind in a flow kind of thing.
Curvature?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there has to be good. There has to be curvy.
Yeah.
Where
you going with this?
It has to be curvy.
I'm on stilo. Like there's more style.
It's a must. We need it. I need
You need it. You need the curve.
You'll see that this is not man-made because it has curvature towards it.
Right.
And so you'll see what could be man-made in how that the cutting to the top of it to where it could be, but it's possible that it isn't because it has curvature along with it, and that's what makes it very.
What's very interesting too when I work on pieces, like I worked on many pieces, a lot, and when they're too straight, no lie, they don't turn out that nice or as fiery as I want them to be. But when they have curves, like it has more style to it. Like it has more depth to it. Like I could do way more to the piece than it just being straight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you give it a ordinary versus like how you're saying an appeal.
Exactly.
You want an appeal. You want an appearance of it to pop out to you. You know what I mean? Versus like when you look at glyphs, the glyphs were the same way. You touch this back here behind me. This is glyphs to us. You know what I mean? You can feel it. So that's what made it more how the chi actually work in your body. So when you're breathing, it wasn't from flat breathing. You actually had to push, like let's say right now I'm pushing onto my stomach. And if I wanted a full vacuum clean out of my stomach, right, I'm going to empty my stomach like it's an empty pocket, right? And then I'm going to just tighten my hips because I want all of this to get out. So, right, I'm going to just now start breathing in through my nose and breathe in hard. Not hard, but strong with passion. And feel all this. You hear that? I'm filling my stomach up. And now that's my pocket. Now that I can hold that, that's how you deal with patience. And then as you release it, I loosen my hips.
So when you hold, that's when you deal with that's how you handle patience.
Yeah, when you're dealing with the patience, the impatience first, because this impatient is hitting you already. So now you gotta get, because they're gonna talk for a minute. You already know they're gonna give you a light spell. I'm mad. Now it's your time. It was like the ancestors be like, bloop. You better get this breathing in right now because after she's done or he's done, you're going to have more of that. You know what I mean? So you want to at least get the breathing technique for it that matches it up to where it can now on the flat, but give it some kind of curvature energy. You know what I'm saying? So now when there's an elevated conversation, you can actually go up. Is it going down? Oh. It can go up into the energy. And now you won't have to say, okay, we're going to just keep leaving it in a negative. And now we both up in there with the negative, but it wasn't going up. It actually was going down on the negative. Negative is a pull. So whenever something's pulling you, look at it as a magnet, but look at it as magnet omega is mother. So look at it as your mother pulling you. Your dad pushes you. So if you got a push and a pull, this becomes a part of why we learn yin and yang. This is why we need to know the zen that's in between. That's the Z. That's the 2 7s appearing to look like an S, but when it's changed, I don't want to see how I can do it. No, okay. Well, you get what I'm saying. After you do the Z, it's 2 7s being put into itself. So that really represents your 5 point of breathing through your heart. How do you connect to the earth? Why am I wearing green? Because it's the earth. It's the in-between energy. So learning your in-between energy. There's a good movie, Netflix, check out Maya and the 3. They got 9 segments, Sagittarius. They got 9 segments that you can go through in that, and they show you how the green is what they're calling hell, but it's not hell, it's Helen. Helen represents the uncovering of the energy. So they made woman a bad guy, a woman, a negative. But in this, she's a positive, yet she's still on this death thing, negative, as they say. But death only represents like how I was breathing. If I don't breathe right, I could face death. And a lot of us don't realize it is depth with a P and TH, depth.
Let's talk about the green, right? How
Just one thing, sorry to cut you off, but like as far as breathing, it also teaches us that through intimacy.
There you go.
When you're intimate,
That's it.
you could last way longer, which is the tantra, which everybody wants to be able to go through tantra and stuff like that, but it's like we're rushing for the climax, right? We're rushing for that feel real quick, but obviously when 2 partners are coming together and both of them are breathing, because it just can't be the man that's just breathing. You feel me? The female has to be breathing as well, or, you know what I'm saying? Now both people are going to get to that climax, and now you're not going to be able to last longer. Also in a fight, the person that's breathing is the one that's more calm.
And probably the winner.
Probably the winner, and more
the
collected.
winner.
You know what I'm saying? And has way more mannerisms than the one that's not breathing.
Right.
So, I feel like breathing connects to a lot of things that kind of.
Okay, I got to tap on that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So what he just brought into the picture was the
the
toxic.
tantra though,
Because you gotta get there. There's the toxic and there's the non-toxic, and that's how we'll find out. Like with the breathing techniques, that's why it still goes back to the baby coming into the body and coming out. How do we see that to birth and life, and how does she breathe to have the baby? Because that also is that all the way to that, and that's where I found out. I was like, oh. I was doing something, I was teaching my son, and here comes a baby 20 years later, and we saying the same thing. I was like, wow, I ain't know nothing new under the sun. I was like, man, and it was like, now I feel confident. I was always speaking about this breath and pranayama and how does it work, and because it deals with PTSD and all of these things that we probably never even put into our mind of if we're, like how he just spoke on, if one side is not on this strength and the other side is on this weakness, then there is no middle. And you gotta find your middle so that maybe we can be compatible sun and moon energy to create a star energy in between. And that's where this specular energy comes from. This spectacular energy, this amazing energy, this intimate that he just spoke on too, because some of us just think of sex and see the X as sex. The X represents being in a spot where you're at. But that's also known as a G spot, to where you've gotten into. So, the ordi represents orgasm. So if we don't know about the original energy, how can you create orgasms? Now, I'm glad he brought it up, because you'll find out majority of our women around us, majority now, I ain't saying minority, majority of them haven't had orgasms. They've
Like
had
that.
climaxes. They didn't have orgasms. So when you created this baby with them, you saying, "Oh, I did everything, and she knows me, and I gave it off to her." You didn't do nothing. You just scratched it. You know what I mean? So there's things that even for the women, and I that's why I still applaud y'all, and I'm always be on y'all side because I came from y'all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Original, how you get there, Omega. When it comes down to her having babies, some of them really actually feel like this is a duty that they have to have a baby. And it's not a duty that you had to have a baby. It was brought pragmatically to think that you're supposed to have this baby or get married to have a baby. And that's what the sex now got isolated into, because it was intimacy, it wasn't sexual. It was intimate, and that was why she came over there and said, "You all right?" and touched you, and it wasn't like, "Oh, she's getting intimate with me." No, she's actually seeing that you're all right.
Yeah.
And we done took that to a point where she touched me, she liked me, and now we don't know what touching is like. And so this goes back to the Tantra and how we need to know about Reiki healing and how we need to know about sound healing. And if these things are unfamiliar to you right now, start getting into it. 13 moon cycle. Start looking that up as a research. Now, I could say you grown and gone. I could. But if you're growing, if you grow, if you have growth, that's what a TH. If you are a grower, if you are grown, that's how you can go through and grow out of stuff. But if you haven't grown out of stuff, it's because of those 7 stages, what we call the Jacob's ladder or Jacob's ladder, of how some of us think that we're species, like a male or female, iron male, iron man. That's where this iron age came from. It's not iron age. It's the age of elements. And we took one element and called it iron. And that's how we start still thinking we got to live like some caveman or cave mentality, when that has nothing to do with the other.
Okay, so we're gonna go to a small intermission. We about to play some tunes. We're gonna get this music vibe going, and then we're gonna dive right back in to
That's right, Reiki.
Come on. We're gonna talk about Reiki. We're gonna talk about semen retention.
That's
We're gonna
right.
talk about sexual energy, all that when we come back. Let's get it.
Respect. Shade.
Peace, greetings. This is Buddha Eeternal coming in. We about to go in at 2718 Granby Street. We at Conscious Planet. We about to go and show what we gonna do. Transitioning food. How we gonna eat, y'all? We gotta get into that. From 7 to 10 come through. We're already gonna be out there. We're gonna have that, some drumming. So from those who don't know about us, we're at Conscious Planet. Come check out. We got food there already. The food is already served from the Conscious actual cafe that's in there. And then we have books. We also have herbs there. There's all kind of things that help you with accessories just to learn your better life and how your life is and your lifestyle. So come through. We're going to have some drumming going on, some spoken word, so you can hear what it is. It's 30 at the door. 30, but if you're early, you get a 10 and a 20 on that price list. So how we change the prices is how you get there. I give thanks, respect. I shake. Buddha.
Hey, I'm gonna be the bell person. Can I be the bell person?
Yeah, man. Do it up. Bell hop that drink.
What is the only drum Eternal has with him?
Yeah, man. Unfortunately.
Hey, good stuff.
With the
stuff,
drum
bro.
that is like
Good
on
stuff.
its last swing.
You saw this last week.
The last swing drum.
Still
I can't believe Eeternal only has this drum.
I know, man. It came down to where it was gonna be like, what's gonna rain?
Exactly.
Or what we're gonna do? So we had the doom back.
Exactly.
Check it out. Hold on, wait a minute. Don't put
Just-
it down.
hold on.
Just not bad thing. Hold on. Let me show it. Let me show it real quick. Let me show it real quick. Look inside this here. Yeah, you're looking at actual copper.
Let me
This
see.
is copper. Full
Oh,
copper.
wow.
Nothing but copper. So this is how you find out about health.
Wow.
I did have someone put this. It's a wrong skin. That's why it didn't sound like it
Yeah.
could have sounded. But he knows because from where we know our origins of drums, we know a lot more when we're from that area. And you can explain what drum is that?
This is the tabla.
The tablet.
Yeah, tabla or darbuka, I believe
Yeah,
that's what they call it.
darbuka.
They say
Darbuka or
darbuka.
tabla. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
This
the-
is played a lot in the Middle East or Turkey or Masr, Palestine, Iraq, Syria,
So we don't know
Sudan, all
what
those
type
areas.
of drums we actually have till we start seeing the origin it come from.
Fact. So like so Reiki, man. Tell us about Reiki and don't
Okay,
you do a
so
little
what he
bit of
just
Reiki?
did right now, put your hand up, brother. So, yeah, so they can see. His hands are red. but that red is not just red, it's actually heat. So we call it infernal energy, all right? So let me get his hand, bring one hand to me. So I can go right here and feel the heat that's coming off of his hand. Now, because I didn't drum, I can still feel his heat. Now, you could imagine someone else who is unaware of this, yet this is really close and I can feel the hotter it is. Now, what we would notice is when you stretch your hand further away, you can still feel that when you know how to get to that level where that heat that I just interacted with at him is a certain type of capacity of heat that we can have between each other. And now we can be matched, we call it the fusion, when we call fusion heat. So we fuse heat together when we learn Reiki. Reiki represents breaking energy. So when I rake off energy, we're going to show you how to rake off energy right quick. So he's right now pushing in and out energy. So now
you could feel it, but you can't see it though.
Right.
Yeah, that's
It's like air.
That's
You know,
yeah,
it's
and
same thing like
and
air,
it deals
that's
with your
like-
pulse also. So when you
I
know
can feel it, bro.
the difference
Yeah.
from vibration and pulsation.
And once you get close to heat, sorry to
Yeah.
cut you off,
No, you
you
good.
feel the heat right away. But when you move back, you feel that.
And when he
The
got
air.
actually
Yeah,
when he
I-
even got closer, I felt my hand pulsating different,
Yeah.
like compared to when his hands further away. So that's the other thing. When you find how you're making energy flow between the two, that's the other ways of learning your Reiki. Now, how do you rake energy? Because sometimes we have negative energy and we're like stuck into a pool, right? So like keep your hand up. I'm gonna rake his energy. So I'm gonna just go into this energy and basically take it to the earth.
Bro, and you know what? I can feel him
Can you
doing
feel
that
that?
right now.
And so-
I can feel I can feel it cold. Once he pulls
Yeah.
I can feel like it's cold.
Hold on. So you telling me to get rid of negative energy?
Oh my God, bro.
You can just simply go like this.
You gotta
to your
pull it
hand, or
out.
it gotta be somebody else.
That's
on
what he
it.
said. He said the mom and the father. You
Right,
said
yeah.
the mom and the father, and the mother is the
The
Cool.
actual magnet.
magnet.
So you are electric energy, but you're connected by the magnet as well. So how to like go in between? That's like this crystal here. I put this crystal in between us, and this crystal is now giving us energy instead of we getting energy from it. Now, how we can make that work in its benefit is that we have an intent to give energy towards it. Not a lot of us know how to do that, and that's where the Reiki also involves in. How do you give people energy and release the energy, right? And not be attached, or as they say, attached to it. Because you could walk off, but you stuck with that energy on you. So that's like the hot potato. When you pass the potato, you'd be like, oh, hot potato.
Yeah, right.
He's there. I don't want it. Yeah, he's stuck with it. So
Nah,
it's
you
how
can't.
do you, is how do you actually shift the energy to where it doesn't stay, dormant. And so that's like going to the earth. The earth is more of the flat surface, so you can drop it to the earth, you can ground it. And then there's also being able to go outside and do it, and it's a lot more easier, a lot more faster, a lot more swifter. And of course, that's still, again, where you feel the experience. Like we're in a room that don't have any air in it. So for him to feel that heat and I'm to feel that heat, and it's air in here. It's just that the windows are not open so that it could be passive constantly. So we wouldn't actually identify it because we're not out there in it to identify it. But yet, even in here, we can identify it. So that's what makes it different. We're never separated from it. We just might think we're lesser of it or more of it. And that's how you start to get with the mother, the father, and really yourself as this child. This is the child right now, but we're learning from the child as the mother and the father and the child. So to a child, they look at this and now they want to get in tune with it, but now they're going to act like a child when they're grabbing their mother or their father. That's how we said these are living ancestors. And because we get lost with that idea, we rock them and we put them on and we think it's, I'm blinging, and you're not really blinging. It might be shining, but you're not blinging like in the intent of it giving you a good energy. So it's about how we have to use it on a cultural manner, not just because you just want to rock it and it looks flashy.
What's the intent? What's the intent?
Yeah.
Where's the intent?
It's all
So
about
how
intention.
how can you, for those that don't know, put the right intentions into a crystal to make it?
Well,
do what
just
it
like
do?
what I was doing with him with the Reiki, when I was
Same thing.
raking it out, Usually, this is the other thing. When I was done, I don't know if you noticed, but I did that too. So that was
Clapped
like,
it off.
yeah, because I can make contact with myself. Well, we don't realize we can contact ourselves to heal ourselves just as much. So doing this is a actual contact to yourself, and it's called tepotment. Look it up. I'm not making it up. Tepotment is a point of where you get what we call AMMA, AMA. AMA is a massage. You massage yourself because you gotta get the message. Sometimes you need the message through the massage, and then that's how you become what they call a messiah. One who can speak through that is the messiah. So that's how we get messages. And messages can come from anything and everything. You just on the collective, how do you really sit at ease when you're receiving it? You might be unaware of it, you might be overreacting towards it, and so this is why the crystals are mainly important for those things. Like we call it alternates. Well, there's alternatives, so this is why you have an altar, and you have crystals like this, and you put it up there, and you just let it sit there and let it resonate your room. When we talking about you going in a room for reciprocity, you go like my brother was just saying. I go in a room so I can sit and get my mind right. This is the room where I'm gonna heal myself at. So what'd you call that room?
The wellness room.
The wellness room. So it's at the remember, because we said Jack and Jill went up to what?
The hill.
The hill.
But that was a representation of heal in the body, not just heal going up one. You see what I'm saying? So the interpretation from water is reflection, but when that water was dropped down, it's more like Jack fell down, he went first, and then here she comes, she ain't getting no water. She was like, oh, my water now.
Yeah.
That's a climaxation. There's no orgasm going on here. Where's the organization?
Yeah.
So we gotta look at where the organs, how many 7 organs in our body. Even though it got perverted, we still gotta go back and look at how she got hurted. You know what I mean? Because it's got hurled and healed. Healed represents just like the shoes. Men wearing heels now, so we gotta look at this. How much are we really in the wheel? The wheel was with a W, not a just H-I-L. There was a W-H-I-L, which made it a W-I-L-L or W-H-E-E-L. That's your wheel. We done changed it to Mon and Moon Steer or Moon Star, that you gotta stand there and be on the stage, but what you doing? You stagnating the gods. And if you stagnate the gods, we feel death. Anything that's on a pause too long dies. So if we look at color as it's changing, that's how reasons change.
Okay, bring that back. So what you my bad. What you mean exactly when you said that? When you said the stage part and then stepping over, what'd you say?
Stages?
Yeah, the stages and that you stepping
Stag
over.
the God.
Yeah.
Because there's a stag God connection. As you see them, a lot of them do the Baphomet aspect as above, so below. We wouldn't know as above, so below conversation what is it meant, but in the middle. We wouldn't know the middle. So there's a middle to this rhyme, or a middle to everyone that has a riddle to your family's riddle, your individual riddle, your collective now people's riddle, that you have to still ride the L so you can figure it out. What part is it? You in the head, you in the tail, you couldn't tell. Once you tell it, it's been told now though. Right. So now, how do you retell that?
Right.
See, you got retailers all the time, don't you? They got all different types of clothing and yeah, so they actually making you more of a tie into, but it's a title and a wave. So how do you wave out your own self without didn't know you waved it out like that? It's called pave. You pave your mint. So how you see what you meant when you cement it out? See, there's cement. It's a lot of them. Naval, nativity. Yeah. So when we didn't know about our indigenous side, we didn't say, oh, I ain't rock the feather because I don't know what the feather represents. It represents balance. But if we didn't do it, there is no balance in my 7 parts of my body. We were calling it what? The immune system, but it's the lymphatic system. And we learning this more. And we can't just say, I don't know about my nodes.
So the lymphatic system is the immune system?
Yeah.
That's actually what it is.
Yeah, but mispronounced on so many levels that we're going to constantly live as the people who lived in this past conversation and say, this is how it really is, but that's not present. You're not a gift if you can't be present. And that's why we're feeling like, as men, how can I be a gift to this woman? I give her everything. I'm a provider. No, brother. You're supposed to be a provisionary. That's why she don't feel no vision out of you. She feel only the division out of you.
Well, they want us to be the provider
And that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work.
So let's talk about that.
That's,
Let's
but,
talk
but,
about
but, but just real quick, as far
Right.
as like Reiki goes, Reiki is nothing new. Like Reiki's been existing forever. Like
Right.
when you say, he said Messiah, right?
Mm.
In Arabic, when they say Yahshua's name, Isa or Jesus, Isa ibnul Masih. And Masih derives from Masaha. And Masaha in Arabic means to remove. Do you know what I'm saying? To remove the sins. What is Reiki? You're removing the energy that's within people that they're having issues, or they're stressed out, or they're blah, 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 or their work, or their whatever it is. It could be a million different things.
Right.
But obviously, Yahshua, Isa ibn al-Masih, kan yamsah al-dhunub. He used to remove the illnesses from people. So that's a form of Reiki. So it's like, a lot of people think like, oh, this is all new, and this may be brujeria, witchcraftery or something, or da. Bro, this has already been existing. It's in all the books. It's in all the, you know what I'm saying?
They
all
just
the
don't
thing-
use that word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. The term might be different. Like that's why I was giving you the word from the Asians. We have Amma, AMMA. Amma represents the message or the massage. And that's why the word massage got taken out of that. So the massage word is a French terminology. That's why it was able to, finagle the other teachings that it came from. And then, of course, we got the Swedish massage, where a lot of us, even myself, got included, start learning that. However, from that, it helped me want to bridge out of it and said, wait a minute, well, what's this word? And it was called shiatsu. And shiatsu, it deals with your meridian. It deals with your stomach issues. It deals with where the Caesarean got cut at and where we have a Julius Caesar cut. And where all this from the Caesarean cut to the bikini cut to the bikini island to Caesarean haircut on your head. All of this has got to do something with your stomach. The navy, the nativity. All this is the parallel of how beast of the east, the dungeons lair, Eden. This is dealing with your stomach. Your eyes deals with your stomach. So the Virgo energy is stomach. Virginia is the stomach. We wouldn't know it until we see the belly of the beast. So we're in the belly of what we call the being of the east energy. And it takes a minute to figure this out, but mainly green. So if you know 5 to 6, if it's just not only chakras, if it's about the zodiac signs, if it's about learning how much are you in tune with this Mary story that they gave us, the mermaids, because they're all over the place, and now they got a new movie out there. So I'm knowing y'all got to be tapping in by now. If y'all don't really tap in now, it's like, what y'all really looking at? Not seeing it.
Yeah, what y'all waiting on?
You not seeing it? Look, gold nuggets. I'm learning that now. Holy Toledo Batman. So we talking about Robin, who knew these words, throwing it back at us, but we're getting it from something else. The origin never dies. So whether it be the gold nuggets that we know from a basketball group to a football, it doesn't matter. They're showing you not just the 49ers, they're showing you elements of where you come from and how that works. AU is gold. So I said it again, it's not the age of iron, it was the age of elements. So you were seeing elementals. So AU with Ra is your aura. You got an aura over your body. And there's 7 layers to it that can have an 8 and a 9. How do you relate and how do you have a relationship? That's why it's important. That's why it's important if you want to get with somebody that's significant. And even if you say, okay, I want 2 significance, how you going to do that first, brother? You need to know your 8. You can get to 8, you can't go to 9. 9 is called the divinity side of self. And a lot of us haven't tapped into that like our fathers supposed to have. It's just that when they went there, they thought, get married, have a child, do the things that people look like they're doing. That's their religion. No, that's not their religion. That became a point of how religion is. See, when we was in spirituality, we didn't have to say spirituality had to be religion. Spirituality is what you already been doing constantly and just now realize, oh, I'm naturally doing this. Well, that's why you become spiritual. And this is your new age of these people who are coming in, this whole wave, and you're like, I don't know how to deal with these people. They a little different. Well, it's because you got out of tune and out of touch with your 4 senses that became 5. See, when I say 4 senses, you went into the script, but you didn't see the scripture. See, when they said fear God, that's fire, earth, air, and rain, God. That's 4 elements that you didn't put with your God spirit, energy. So when we said fear God, you're supposed to put fear with God, not fear against God.
Right.
Why'd you put fear against God? If God created all these things, why would he create fear so you be fearing it?
Right.
If anything, he put an S with your fear. Not saying fears of it, because I heard a lot of people now, they say they're attached to phobia. But if you put your S in the front of F, you got sphere. So it's a sphere, atmospheric energy. This what alchemy was about. This what Melchizedek was about. This is where you see how
Melchizedek.
we build things versus we destroyed it because all we could do was destroy it. As you see, he's carving on a tree, but this is a carved connection that's from something that was already created. So he's not destroying it, yet he's giving emphasis on the structure. So that's why it's called instruction in ourselves. We don't come out of the structure, we're going into it to see our structure of self. That's why we say this thing is, this, as we call it, not of the thing, it's beauty and it's beautiful. There's an inside this, and it's going to go into the eyes of the beholder and how they feel about it. So just like what we're going in full circle, our brother said, what would you do when you're having this? Well, you give out your intent, you give out your mantras, you sit there with the moon. If not the moon, I know some people say the moon is not real, so you ain't got to go by that, you go by the sun. If you ain't going by that, you can go by your ancestors. There's so many things you can go by now.
Real too.
I mean, people talking, man. I don't know what else to tell you. There's people talking, bro. So they tell you not to go any further than your nose to know things. So I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Say that one more time.
No, not to go any further than your nose. I just said this is what it said. Not to go any further than your nose to know things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't go by your nose or go further past your nose, it's like you don't know it until you now know it. So it takes a minute to actually get all the way fully. Somebody might tell you the full moon is not there, and then you're like, well, okay, but then why are we dealing with full moon issues? I don't know. It's their own ways of thinking how they living in their life. I'm just giving you this. You can have a lot more than a lot less if you notice it. And you can have a lot less if you don't want that much. Because these are the yin and the yang. These are the zen. This is why.
Yeah, but ignorance has to be to the side.
And so there's your 13.
Ignorancia, mi amor.
See what he just brought in?
Ignorancia, está cabrón.
This 13 is what we're going to run into. Because we call that Friday the 13th in some people's eyes, right?
Ignorance brings like fright too. Because when you're afraid of something.
There's Freddy.
Freddy. Yeah, like once you don't know something, you're afraid of it, your ignorance comes out right away. And now you're ignorant por la situación, to the situation.
So you have to surface these things. So we call it shadow working. You go into that shadow, right? You get it like this. Daytime, you can look up, right? And you only see, but you think 90%, but it's really 10% of light. If you went further than your eyes could see, it would be darkness. So it would be really 90% you're living off of on light. But when it get dark, why are you afraid? Now, here's the other thing to that. If there's a shadow under your foot, that shadow is a representation while you're in light, you can see the shadow. All right? But when you're in dark, where's your shadow at? Are you now afraid of your shadow? Or should you feel like your shadow is more your companion? These are the levels of learning yourself inside yourself and outside of yourself. That's why it goes back to the social. My brother brought it up just now. He said you can't live it in ignorance. If I go out here and have my child, and I just told my child, you can smack anybody you want. And then you go outside, and then she goes off and smack that police officer, you're in trouble, ain't you? Because you gave them the ignorance. And it's not really police officer, it's a peace officer. We created the police officer. That's why he's called a police officer to some people and a peace officer to others. So if you could learn how to use your lingo, your language, we call it the language, as we say language, could be the language in your thoughts. Because if you didn't see the M, it's a sound. And in the beginning, I know they keep throwing that quote out, in the beginning was words.
But it was sound.
Okay, so now it's an echo to how you hear your sound. We call that reflection. How do you use your reflection to help you? If not, it's called hurt, H-U-R-T, and then there's also H-E-R-T-Z. Create your hurts to help you amplify the energy that's needed and relative to whatever's going on in the situation. Yeah, You might have to sit back, pause at it, meditate. You might have to not be into it. Just sit back and get away from it. That's how you elevate. Don't always think interaction is the best key. Sometimes that's the worst key to do it in.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, good talk, man. This is high level conversation, man. You know,
We threw that key in the end. He said this is high level. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
It's a chi with your
Chi.
key. Open the doors and windows that you didn't even have windows and keys for.
You dig? So any last words? Any last words? 5 minutes.
If you got a way to tap into your sisters, your brothers, please get out there, get on the podium, however, as you see what we're doing right now, get with my brethren right now, tap into him. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's ETURNALELBEY. Now, I already tell people I'm Buddha Eeternal is because I didn't call myself Buddha. It just came to me, just like how Eternal came to me.
Right.
I actually drew the actual symbol. Where I put it at? I drew the symbol right here, and it became the life lesson for me. And that's why it's a key. It's a door. We open keys, the keys that you open doors with. And of course, how the spoon is to feed yourself. The anchor that goes in the bottom of the ocean. So those who are trespassing don't get ate up because they knew that there was an on the anchor. So there's things that if you put more intent to it, it can have more intent out of it. That's why I said speak. Get your mind out enough to where you say, even if you said, I said too much, you could be the one that's man up to say that thing, not nobody else. So if you don't speak, it's more like you kept being guilty of these situations that's happening. Pedophilia, we're knowing about it. All three of us are fathers, are we not?
Alhamdulillah, yup.
And so we're not at a point where we're saying, oh, I love that. No, we do not. If you are those type that you're doing what you're doing, you will be dealt with. Nature is coming for you. We call it kalima in different languages. So if you don't know about Mami Wata, start studying on that. We're not going to play with this energy that we've been already in for so long. We done seen all the coke, crack, and all the other heroin and any of those little synthetic things that was thrown at us. We went past that. That's why we still here right now. And you'd be like, oh, how these golden children still, yeah, that's right. We're in the golden age of the children. And so that's how you see the golden Buddhas and the crystal Buddhas and the indigo Buddhas. And how did these 1991, 1975, these were the eras that when it had to go down, okay, well, this would change that. And that's why you saw the shaft being different. Shaft, of course, they put back at you, showing you the perversion shaft with Samuel Jackson, but that wasn't him. That's not what you're really supposed to pay attention to. It's the Buddha within him. That's why he had to sound perverted, saying shaft like the phallus. Phallus represents your palace. So whenever you think about that 13 going in, catfish, when they ate Asuras.
Phallus represents your palace.
Yeah, Asuras.
My
When they
God.
took Asuras phallus.
Everyone be waving their freaking palace all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
do you see the concept? Sorry to cut you
No, you're
off.
good, bro.
Phallus represents your palace. So imagine when you like just walling out with every other person. Now your palace is just all over the place and dirty and jacked up, and it's like you're not giving respect to the palace that's within you,
And that's
which
your
is
pH.
the phallus.
Right.
So that's why sometimes the palace needs to stay guarded.
Stay
and
guarded, stay
grounded,
down, stay to
grounded,
yourself.
Grounded, stay to yourself for a year, 2
Wrap it up.
years.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, keep it in your pants type deal. One of my friends is like, keep it in your pants. You have to keep it in your pants at least. Sometimes like it's good to fast for a year.
But hold on, man.
2 years.
How-
You feel me? And I learned that from
Oh, yeah.
We gonna go just yet.
0.2 times your age. 0.2 times your age in order for you to have an excretion. So those
your
who don't
palace
know.
is your palace.
So
and we waving our palaces like, oh, I got the best palace. I got the biggest palace. Oh, come and check out my palace. Oh, mine is. Oh, I can do like 50 of them. Like what? You're not
what are
even
you
giving
doing?
respect to your palace.
Yeah.
Then.
Right. That's exactly what
And
we
it
That's
makes,
so deep.
it makes
Yeah,
synthesized children out
Yeah.
of this. So we do have to be mindful as men. It makes synthesized children. The lesser that we're having our attachments towards our children is because we also had a lesser attachment towards that woman that had our child. So there's that other part where we had to say, even if y'all don't see eye to eye, still having some kind of communication to where there's a proper understanding for the child to still get that child's development, because we might think that we were great, but then there's that part where we're like, okay, we're not so great. So when there's that we not so great, there's still a point of saying maturity. How do we stay mature? How do you still keep the development for your children? Because what we are realizing, some of us are left-handed, some of us are right-handed. Some of us grow through the whole lifeline and don't even realize our mama and our father is left-handed or right-handed. So when we say, oh, I love my family, I do things for my family, did you really put in the emotions to know what's your favorite color? What songs do you like? Are you, what, do you like boys? My brother asked my son, he was like, have you had a girlfriend yet? And he was like, yeah. I was like, what the? I ain't even asked that. And that's help us.
Like, we gotta know, bro. Like,
get in the village, get around your brothers.
You
might not be able to say it yourself, but when you get around enough of your other brothers, they might give the question that you need to ask, and you be like, oh, that's what I should have asked my child. This is why we call it social, so that you have that versus just being social. You say, oh man, let's go party. And then what'd you do after that? Oh, we got drunk. And then what'd you do after? I lost my keys. And see, that's why you're in the social world. You need a social world. You need the one that's gonna help build you and keep that kind of camaraderie. I'm saying the wrong way. Companion or what am I looking for? That cadence. That's what I'm looking for. The cadence that as we were in, because military people, they live off of that. They live off of a cadence, conversation. That's why I'm like, that's what make them like that. But the communion part is where the destruction got destroyed at, and we can't have that. We can't have a mess hall like our actual mother being a mess hall. We can't have her being the soiled dove. And I see the eagle, I see the bird. I'm glad y'all brought the bird on the dollar bill and everything so we could see it. But now that I'm seeing it, it makes sense. That eagle, the hawk, the falcon, I've seen your condor. Now, what's going on right now is this vulture y'all ain't speak of yet. And we know that from Mutz. Mutz is M-U-T, and we know it as mother. And we called her death. But she's not death, and she's bringing us back to life. So if you already...
what's her name? The goddess that represents death over there. I think it's Hindu or Hinduism.
Oh, you're talking about, Kali. Kali, right?
I think
or
the one with
Shiva.
the multiple arms and
yeah, it could be Shiva.
Yeah. So is that like that?
Or Kali. Kali has multiple arms. There's several depictions in Hindu where they show the multiple arms woman.
And she on her one leg.
Yeah.
And it's like
well,
the
then that's Kali because she took the head of the ones
Yeah.
who thought with the ego.
Yeah.
So she drank the blood out of the head of them. But it was more or less like Sekhmet. That's why we need to know about this. It's more or less about the phoenix.
That's my
Mulan. Study that. Look at it. That's why this stuff is out there. And you got Jet Li and the newest of Mulan. He letting you know something. The Yellow Emperor, Tao, T-A-O. He played as the Yellow Emperor in that. So if you are a martial art fanatic, you like I do, you would look at movies and say, why did they put him in there? Because there's a reason. They're showing you this is not just a story. It has a timeline to it. And if you can go back in time and find it good enough, it's like tapping back into the future so you can actually fix yourself, fix your family. We got time to catch your family right now, real quick. Spider-Man supposed to have an old lady that's supposed to be at the end of this whole connection. Why? Because she's like the grandma, and she has no vision. So her ears is what she's able to connect to. And then telepathic telekinesis. Why? Because she was the wire, or she's the web that he was always getting the spider senses tingling. And whenever he was having problems, that was his meditation room that he would pop up in her spot, and she would be sitting there on the throne with her red glasses on and everything, chilling. And he
waiting on him.
Yeah, and she just be giving him the science, and then he go back. That was in the comic book. See, that's why there's a difference when you see one thing and
you see another.
And then the switch, and then you got the Mandela effect. Yeah, so that's what red pill, blue pill we're talking about. It's a 44. When you see the Mandela effect, how it switches, and you think it's one thing, end up being another, or they call it the scapegoat.
Before we close out, so as a Scorpio man,
Keep your phallus in your palace. As
Right.
a Scorpio man, that's it.
Right.
That's it, Mr.
But
Scorpio
how?
man.
But how?
As a
But how?
Scorpio
But
man.
how if we rule sexual
How?
energy,
Oh my
man?
God.
All right, so there's the likenesses that we look at, just like the werewolf. The werewolf, they called him a lichen, and so they created the werewolf to have a lichen. So that meant he was able to become like a human, kind of like, but not. So there's this other level of the underworld, Anpu. Anpu would be a representation of like Scorpio, being the guardian of the underworld. So with that in mind is how you have insemination, right? And we call it retention. How do you create retention?
Retention.
And so you have 5 spots, right? You know where the phallus is, the erector side, the head, the shaft. Then you have the 3 holes. Out of these 3 holes, from your testes, you have the anus and the coccyx. But there's a perineal in between there. That in between is your like median, and some of us never touch there or stop the ejaculating energy happening. So it's not really about keeping it to yourself. It's just that once you get to a certain point that you feel like you have to let it or release it,
You gotta hold it.
learn how to retent that energy so that it won't be you release it. Like you have to go with a 10%, a 20%. If you go to 30%, you might as well reset yourself as a clock. As women do her periods, she has a clock. Like every period is a clock for her as a pyramid. I call it a pyramid, she called it a period. But that's your 28 and a half day cycle as a woman. But for a man, he don't have to go that long because he's not you. But at the same time, he do have to pause himself. And that's where we get our breathing techniques, our energy back up. So let's say you went, let's say over 40, and you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have did that. But she's like, let's go again. You're like, all right, but this time I can't do nothing. So that means you can stay having an erection, you just can't, you know, the ending part, you can't have that. So you had to hold that up, 0.2, just times yourself, 0.2, like put a 0.02 and put your age up there and times that to see what is it in the bracket. Could be 9 days, could be 9.5 days, that you need space in order for you to have this and then go back to having it again.
But it comes with technique as well.
And there's
But
the other part.
There's technique as well
Eating.
to that.
Do
Is
what?
that eating properly
Eating properly.
and breathing properly, exercising, stretching. So it all still, you still gotta have a good maintenance, still a good lifestyle in order to say, okay, properly, I'm back in order, I'm 100%, and I can do it again.
Yeah.
We can go
But
a long time.
the semen
how many
retention
days do you-
thing, the semen
9.5.
retention thing is like,
Nah.
okay, like for
9.5.
example, right? And I learned this from Eeternal. So it's like you're using the bathroom, right? Like you're about to pee.
Mhm.
You hold it for 20 seconds. Next week, do it for 30 seconds. Next week, now you're up to a minute, 2 minutes. You don't pee right away. That's the same exact thing as semen retention. Now, when you're having intercourse with a person, your body's already used to the retention. Like your body's already used to holding it in. You know what I'm saying? Because the semen and the pee, it's going to be the same exact
Feeling.
same exact feeling.
Yeah.
Boom. So it's like, I'm already used to this.
So you
So
can-
while you're in intercourse, you're like, your mind already knows, all right, I know what I need to do right now.
And
Boom.
if you can get the exercise of,
And that exercise
Flow.
really works.
because if you
Right.
notice that
Pee
you're
first,
flowing,
and then hit the work your way up.
it works.
yeah. So like what he's saying, right? The 30
He's
seconds.
like, yo, I'm putting that thing to play.
The 10 seconds and 30 seconds, like maybe you have to space your second by second first. Don't put it all in one.
Right away, yeah.
Do it like this. Every, because what we do is the even or odd number, like 11. Go every 11 seconds, stop, then go again. Every 11 seconds, stop, then go again. So now you're getting the second in between there, and now that's your 10 seconds, and that's your 30 seconds. The more you can pause in between, you get more seconds. Then you can get to, because you could baby step it first before you say, let me do 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, because
Take in baby
we,
steps.
we might not know how to go in to the point where we're good at it. So first start training your phallus.
Yourself
It's
first.
really your
Yeah,
phallus
yeah.
you're training.
So
And
this
then,
is all new. This is all new to your body, to your
Right.
phallus.
now, why are we
Right.
speaking
To
this?
the phallus.
Which is your phallus?
Which is the
Yeah.
phallus.
So what's your age you're in
Phallus
right
to the
now?
phallus. Huh?
What age you're in?
27.
So 27.
37.
So
Wow.
and then there's 48. So we're in the actual brackets to say, okay, before we get to 58, or 57, this was going to end up happening. So your erectus energy be like, "Rrr." So now you gotta eat sea moss, gotta use the sea moss, get some power in there. So or use a Sabi Trio. There's some things that you can say, all right, I gotta get Tongue Cat Ali. There's Demania, but I would say you have to have a great heart for that. So there's things that you can actually look up for. Vervain, blue vervain, you can grab that up. There's valerian root. There's certain things that you can actually add into a tea that can help you get the energy. I know some characters.
Aloe vera is really good.
Yeah.
Ginger,
Aloe vera.
turmeric. Ginger, turmeric,
Yeah,
aloe vera.
cleanse the system. See what he's talking about right there?
Turmeric good for the third eye too.
What's that called? Garlic.
Yeah,
Garlic
definitely.
is nuts.
'Cause
with-
it's gonna
with-
help
with
your
honey
blood.
as well. But you gotta cut up the garlic,
Honey's perfect.
let it sit for like a couple minutes, and like
Sugar
once
cane.
you cut it, it kind of activates.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So garlic is really good as well with some honey.
So just remind yourself that it's not a point where you have to actually go in and do the damage and you did the thing. That's not it. You got to actually do some stretching on your phallus a
You
little
gotta
bit.
do the work.
Because some of us don't even
It's
stretch
work.
out. Look, I had
Trabajo.
my testicles were hurting for a minute. I was like, what's going on? But you can have too much in there too. So you have to actually stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do some massaging.
Yeah,
Massaging.
yeah.
All
There
the
was a-
body
there
needs
was a,
massaging, to be honest.
It was I think a Filipino Chinese guy who was did an interview. He was talking about how you stretch your penis out.
There's
and
workouts.
Stretch it
Yeah.
down.
Yep.
Stretch
Stretch
this
it left way,
stretch
and
that
then
way,
also
stretch
like
it up.
this,
And
you
lifters.
grab it and
Lifters.
lifting it up.
Yeah.
They
You
have
gotta
weights for
know how
that
to
stuff
lift it.
too, bro.
Yep,
yep,
They have some
yep,
crazy weights,
yep,
and I looked
yep.
them up online. They're like 160
I was
bucks.
like, how
the
you
whole
getting this
packet.
footage, man?
They got some
I
weights
want to
for
make
the
this
dog.
stuff, man. Forget that.
yo, and they have
Getting
the
paid.
packet, and bro, this thing literally like
Yeah.
it has like a little string,
Right.
and it wraps around your phallus,
Mhm.
and now you weight it, and you
Yep.
just let it,
Hang.
Yeah.
and
Then you
now
gotta
it's
lift it.
pulling down. You know what I'm
Then you
saying?
got to
Phallus lifter.
You can lift it
Phallus
up
lifter.
and lift it down. You know what I'm saying? But yo,
Now hold it for like 3
these
seconds.
are exercises that men really
Do it again.
need, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
One more time. Give me one last one. All right. All right, I'm good. All right.
Hey,
Whew,
take
that
this
was
shit
good
off.
exercise. All right, take this off, man. I'm done. And you can't spot me no more.
Hey yo, that'd be something good to get y'all. So
No, serious.
I think I might get
Serious
that, and I think your shorty might be having fun looking.
She
at
gonna
this
be
shit.
like,
She gonna
what?
be like,
Y'all
"Man,
talk about the internet?
This is impressive.
I can't believe I know this.
No, bro.
This is
It
how
really
we
works.
stay. This is how you stay younger. This is how you have what we call eternal life.
You
Not
dig?
the ETE.
Eternal life.
But the ETE, the Eeternal of how you are a part of this. This is the mother, right? This is the child. You go through it left and right, and then there's the father, how it interjects. They call this also the connection to how we had Tekanu. And if we knew this as the sink, when most people drink water, they come out of the sink, that also is the shim. They say a shim or a sink. So that's why the mother was the concave part. That's why the baby was able to sit in there. And it was an egg shape, which I was getting to as the vulture, right, was connected to the African rooster. That's how they had the egg. So that's why this shape is more like an oval. And you see that there's people that's cross-examining the species but creating their own thing out of it. And that's where we're having to got to draw a line at to say, okay, we got to get more into nurturing and nature versus coming unnatural and start thinking AI is the winner and we lost. And
Right,
we never
right.
lost anything. We're
Right.
gaining because where do you think AI come from? That's you. You're the advanced intelligence inside self. You just got to see where does this come from as a cistern inside the body that you connected to. This is the key that you open doors with that they probably don't have anymore, but you press a button on. So you just got to remind yourself this is still around you, or if it's not, start putting them more back in tune. That way you won't be like, oh, I'm out of tune with myself. The radio astrology is where our mind is heading at in our new days. So if you're not with it, it's just, well, I mean, we did the best we could do for you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm just glad that we're present enough to be a present for the rest of us who actually got their eyes, ears, nose, and mouth to it.
Shay,
Good
man.
things.
Shay. Man, that's the Third Eye 5, Just About Audio Podcast, man. Eternal Ross. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate y'all, man. We're gonna do
So
this
great
again.
having me. Thank you
Man,
for having
it's
me,
been a
man.
great
Plus,
vibe, man.
Such
Man.
a
Popped
such a
in
great
out of
pleasure.
nowhere.
I always
Much
pop
love
in
for
out
y'all,
of
man. Much love
He
for
popped
y'all,
out
man.
into space.
Always.
Yeah.
Cosmic, all the way from Georgia.
Georgia out of nowhere. Didn't even say he was coming.
Didn't even
course,
say
that's
something.
how you
But
gotta
that's how I like it though. I love surprises because moments like this, you just never know what's gonna happen.
Shout out
So
there to
I
Wu-Tang.
appreciate
Make sure you
y'all.
breathe. Make sure you breathe. That's
Breathe,
super important.
major.
Breathe it out.
Breathe.
Breathe it out. It's not even worth being upset about, honestly. To keep
Yeah.
it 100.
Exactly. Don't
Catch
worry.
us in the circles. We're gonna have some ciphers, whether it be way out there in Georgia,
Oh, please.
or over
Hold
here,
Over here,
or
in the
hold
North
up.
75.
Carolina, Maryland.
Hold up. We
going
got a
some
cousins
places.
for everything in Atlanta.
Yes,
For
So,
sure.
Give
I
love
gotta
to
come down there for the summertime.
Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Norfolk,
Portsmouth.
Newport News, Portsmouth,
Hampton.
Hampton. Yeah, we're giving all them shout outs to our people out here because this is what we're here for. Yeah, go
All
give
of-
them
yeah,
stuff.
give it up, run it up,
there
run
you
it
go,
up.
There you go, there you go.
Run it up.
Yeah, we're here, y'all. We're gonna
Also,
be here
I'm in
for y'all.
town. I'm in town until Sunday. I do oil-based fragrances. It's called
Oh, yeah.
Upper Misk Parfums on Instagram. Make sure you hit me up if you want to smell good. If you always want to smell good and have pheromones, hit me up. I also ship as well. I give out free samples. I could pull up on you wherever in the 757. But let me
Here
know. I
with it.
also make staffs, wands, jewelry,
You see it?
the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
This
let's
is the
see
one
that
that
piece.
you
He was
put.
carving.
Oh, man.
He was carving it the whole time we was here with his teeth.
Man.
That's wild, man. Yeah, it's so
It's
beautiful.
so beautiful, man.
Yeah,
Look at that.
it's coming
I know y'all
up,
seen
man.
that for TV.
So coming up, bro. It's coming
You see-
together,
you
bro.
see
Akhenaten,
Oh my gosh.
the Aten,
Come on.
Just look at it, man.
the Unks are
The
like
Unks.
upside down.
And it's like a continuum versus
Yeah.
just
You
it
dig?
stopped.
Yeah, this is a 3-year project. You know,
Ooh,
like
really tall.
what I have to
Come
say
on.
through
Look at all
like
them hearts.
crafting, literally like through
I
crafting
see
taught
that.
me
Oh, them
patience, perseverance,
Come on,
prayer, the whole 9. So it's like, you know, you can't rush the process.
There
You
you
have
go.
to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so
That's going up that mountain, and you're like, whoa, I gotta
Yeah.
actually not take any string. I gotta actually take the right one.
And I could tell through my work, like the stuff that I rushed,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't enjoy it, and it didn't
Yeah,
turn out that
yeah.
well. But obviously, this has been a 3-year project.
And I
it's
was
still
glad to
working.
be part of this,
now
man.
for something and the prices, how much would this be?
Man.
I hate when
I
Eternal does this.
I don't even think he's giving the price. I think
hate when he
this
does
is
Eternal
strictly for
always
him.
does this stuff to me. He's like, so,
This is strictly
so
for
how
him,
much
I
is
know
the
it.
price gonna be on this?
3 years?
All right. I
1,000.
mean, to keep it 100, this is eso es el plan. This is the plan that I have for this.
Uh-huh.
I want to make this out of solid gold.
Woo!
Yeah, I remember you told me about
Yeah,
that.
like
yeah.
the whole piece is good. Like a lot of people are like, "Yo, why don't you just put gold around it?" I'm like, "No, bro. They never had just gold around it. It was all
The whole
solid.
thing.
The whole thing is gonna be gold." So
So
my
the real
father's a
design.
jeweler. He's been a jeweler for over 30 years. So just the gold in itself is gonna cost $890-some thousand, close to $100,000. So this piece, my
You
plan
said
is
800,000.
yeah. So you're almost talking. You're almost talking. No lie. Like you're
That's
almost
real.
talking. No, it's real because this is like I think a ton and some
Don't
gold.
keep dropping it like that.
It is, bro.
Yeah.
It's like a $5 million piece. Here,
Yeah,
man.
you over here. What you
This
forgot?
guy,
What
man. Like
you
a
doing?
$5 million piece. I
You about to-
didn't
you about to-
putting the
you
price
got
out.
money
I
in
felt
your
like I'm on the throne, cuz you know how they be
Yeah,
like, doom,
you
doom,
about
doom. Hey, what you heard?
I know. That's
Yeah, you know what I'm talking
Man.
Got some panther in you.
But the idea is to, you know, it's going to be in the millions. You know, this
Yeah,
one
I
at
can
least
see that.
anywhere
Yeah.
from 3 million to 5 million. You know, that's the plan. That's
See,
the plan.
now,
This for the
and
celebrity.
I don't want to sell this. This is going to stay with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the only piece that person's going to
Okay.
get is the solid gold piece, and I keep
That's
mine.
the one you. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I keep mine.
Right.
This,
Yeah.
this the prototype.
That's the prototype.
Prototype.
No, that's good because I got 3 copper bodies that I created. And when I come back up here, I'll show you at least one of them. I'll bring them with me.
For sure, for sure.
I
So
know
you can
everyone
see
thinks
what I
I'm
look
crazy
like.
though. Like, what are you talking about? $800 and some $1,000? You nuts? You are
We outta here.